Can you tell us about Galatasaray from your perspective? It's still an incident that is fresh in the memory for so many Leeds fans, and it still has a huge emotional resonance all these years later. What was it like to be there?
It was weird. The sort of hatred, or the animosity was there from the moment we landed. So my overriding thing was, right, let's make sure we get a result here, because they're being so nasty when we first land. It's like, okay, if you're going to be like that, let's put on a performance and win this game. And then obviously we train that night and come back after training, and I think some lads were in bed and things like that, because it was getting pretty late. And then I can't remember who it was, is knock on the door, and everyone's out in the sort of in the alleyway outside our hotel rooms, and then the news is coming through that two of our fans have been killed, and it was a little bit of disbelief. And thinking about it now, I mean, it is my biggest regret in football that we even played that game, because it's, guys go over there and they spend their money and they support their team, and why can't they go and have a few beers and a sing song if that's what they want to do? And they're not hurting anyone, they're not up to anything, and then to go to watch your team play and then not come back is wrong. And we shouldn't have played that game. For me, I didn't care. Even now I think, well, even if the club still played it, I shouldn't have. And I don't know how that would have how my career would have gone with that had I done that. But I can remember the chairman saying, look, we've got to play. UEFA have been very strong about this. The game is going ahead. We've got to play. And I just think I'd rather we hadn't, as a club. I'd rather we said, no, we're not going to play. I don't care if you kick us out of the competition. I don't care if you ban us for a year or whatever. We're making a stand for, supporters, and, this sort of thing just cannot happen. Two guys have been killed at a time, when, they're family men, they've got their own families around them, and the hurt and everything that causes, that's far more important than a game of football, kicking a bag of wind around. When we did go and play, me and Robbo and Steve Sutton were first out on the pitch. We were actually halted as we were going to go out by the police, who then lined up either side of us, double stacked either side with riot shields holding them flat, and then others at 45-degree angle, sort of creating an extra tunnel for us to run out. There were lighters, stones, coins, all sorts of things hitting those as we were running out. And I can remember running out and the whistling and the noise. And I don't think I've ever been as desperate to win a game of football in my life as I was at that point. And as it was, they actually had a very good team. They ended up beating Arsenal, that were above us in the league. They beat them in the final. So their actual team were a good side. It's just what goes with it really is it's okay to create an atmosphere that's a bit, difficult for other teams to play in maybe, but I think they went well beyond that.
Do you think in a game like that as well, you're saying you've never been as desperate to win a game, do you think you can be too hyped up for a game like that, and maybe you lose some of your shape and things because it becomes like a little bit of a free-for-all on the pitch?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think we played too badly. I think Bridgie missed a chance late on, didn't he, for a goal, and I remember their first goal. I think it gets a lucky bounce to the guy. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head, because I don't think I've even watched it back. And it bounces to him sort of probably 6 or 7 yards out in the middle of the goal. And I just remember spreading myself, and I think it actually hits me on the underside of my leg as I'm sort of spreading, and still manages to go in. And it was like all the luck was with them when it obviously shouldn't have been. And then the home game was, you can imagine how our fans are feeling at that point, and the players, we're desperate to do it, but like I said, they were probably just too good a team for us to steamroll a 4-0. You know, they were full of internationals that had probably played in numerous games like that, and it was still fairly new to us.
Can you remember the atmosphere inside Ellen Road that night for the return leg? Did you get a sense of it? Because for me, speaking as a fan, I don't think I've ever experienced an atmosphere like it, as toxic as that was that night, where the football had gone out of the window, particularly on the back of that first leg result.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they made a big play of, laying flowers and things like that. They're obviously trying to calm it down, the situation. But, we all feel aggrieved isn't really a big enough word, is it? But, hard done by. It was wrong. Those guys, should have been there supporting us, irrespective. I would much rather have been beaten 6-0 over there and those two guys come home, and 10-0 at home. I don't care. It's quite affected me, really. The fact that, they went to watch and, didn't come home and there was no real consequence to that. And I think that's the thing that really grinds with me.